Alright guys, it is Blockchain coming at you with another technical analysis update. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Corey, aka Blockchain. Starting off on my website, blockchaintrading.com. The link is below. Biggest thing I want to highlight in there is a quick description of the exclusive Discord that we have in there for technical analysis, options alerts, and crypto alerts. So no matter what market you're in, we have you covered. So a little intro about us. The three different levels of membership between the monthly, yearly, and lifetime. Starting off on the yearly, you actually get the full six segmented trading class that I have that covers a lot of the trading essentials that I use in my technical analysis, so you can follow along with me. And then, of course, the #1 trading strategy that I use for free. Just fill this little guy out, and I'll send you a video demonstration on my #1 trading strategy that is consistent, profitable, reliable, and applicable to any market. So make sure you guys get in there and check it out, as well as with a couple testimonials here. So definitely get on, check it out. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the Discord. So let's go ahead, and speaking of which, I guess the Discord, let's take a quick look so that way you guys can see what's going on in there. So from a crypto perspective, we have KJ. He alerted us of a 122% gainer today. And then in the traditional markets, if you missed the last week, we have... Where is it? Where's his rundown? These are all the ones he had today. So last week he actually had like 3% or 3,000% confirmed profits from his calls last week. 2,000 the week before, 1,500 the week before. So just absolutely killing it. And then of course, and you can see some of our members' gains that we have here. So actually a couple option calls that I've had there. I had 1,000% gainer from my technical analysis that I posted. MDU Chow, sitting quite nicely with over 30,000% profit on some of his trades that he's been in. So all good stuff. So hopefully I'll catch you guys in there. But let's go ahead and dive into the charts. All right, guys. Quick update. I'm finally back on YouTube. I actually had my channel, I don't know if it was reported or what. However, they shut me down and took away my channel for the better half of last week, so I was unable to do any videos, wasn't able to access anything, a whole lot of nothing. But they did grant me back my access and said that they made a mistake. So I am back at it. So we're going to start off on ETH here. Don't pay attention to this miss. This is obviously in the smaller time frame. What I do want to call out and just want to pay attention to are just a couple things I'm looking at here on the weekly. Big one that I'm looking at is right here. We can see that our RSI is coming down here, and we are finding support down here on the bottom of the bullish control zone. So that is going to be very important to watch as we go through the remainder of this week and try and get back above the volume band here on the RSI. With this guy here, with our fast and our slow EMAs on the RSI, having a retest right here and getting shut down, that was our indication that we're going to have some continuation on the downside over the next week or so. But being that we are down here and trying to find some support on the bottom of the bullish control zone, and get a little pop back up, potentially to test the top of the bullish control zone again over the next week or so and kind of see where we go. However, ETH did have a nice little dump with a nice little buy up as well, and we'll look at a couple other things on the smaller time frame as well. We can also see that our VWAP is starting to turn back up and curl back up as well here on the weekly. But if we flip over here to the daily, we also have a couple support and resistance zones so that I want to pay attention to. Big one that is right here is the pivot, which is right here at 3K. That is it's going to be a big hurdle for ETH to get back over and find support on. So it's definitely something that I'll be watching here as we go through. But you can also see that we have also just been riding the our fast moving EMA up here on the daily, as we did break out of the bearish control zone a little bit. Now we're back testing it, finding it as some support. And if the support holds, then we would be retesting our slow moving EMA And then the bottom of the bullish control zone again. So definitely something I'll be watching for as we go through and move over the next day or so, to see what kind of reaction we get, because we are starting to get a little squeezed in here as well. And it's going to have to make a decision one way or another as we go through. If we do have a rejection and come back down, I would look for support again back on the 40 on the RSI, as well potentially use this trend line back down here around 2K. That we have found some support on as well. Let's see. The money flow is looking, pretty decent as well. Our blue waves, we were still in the positive for some upward momentum on the daily. So all stuff to be paying attention to, and all stuff to, be watching. Not seeing a lot of volume right now, obviously, and it's kind of been the theme across the market. Is having low volume right now and some indecision. So we'll kind of see what that turns into, what that plays out to be. Let's take a quick look at the 8-hour. Smaller time frames obviously is what makes it the larger. So smaller time frames will kind of give us a little bit more information on which way we are potentially headed, in my opinion. And right now it just says indecision. We're finding our resistance here on the top of the bullish control zone, as well as support on the top of the bearish control zone. We are back above the fast and slow moving EMAs here on the 8 hours as well, again trying to find it as support. And then as we can kind of dive into the wave structure a little bit more and see what we're potentially turning into. And these are really the two options that, obviously a bull and a bear scenario, always you want to prepare for both cases, and what the invalidation points are. So with ETH, we obviously have had this trend line up here that we have been just bashing our heads against multiple times over and over. But as we have been doing that, we've also been setting in higher lows every time we do it as well. So the bulls are definitely stepping in on ETH, and ETH is definitely looking stronger than what Bitcoin is, in my opinion, for some upward momentum. So possible scenarios in regards to this would be a 3-wave ABC correction or a flat. I am looking at this as a 5-wave move right here. So what could also potentially be an ABC right within here for a zigzag. But this movement right here, we would need a much larger move to the downside in order for that to be valid. So with the bulls stepping in and having some strength here on ETH, I'm looking at potentially, this is our wave 1, this is a 2. This is our wave 1 with inside of the 3rd, and we're about to go out for our 3rd, 4th, and our 5th. And that would make us get up to about 4,500 for the top of the 3rd wave right here. So basically this would be our 1, 2, go up for our 3rd, break the trend line, retest the high roughly for our 3rd wave. Within the 3rd wave, come back down, find support just like we did right here. It all lines up quite nicely for a fib retracement and fib extension standpoint as well. And then retest the break a new high of a 4th wave right up about 4,500, have a 4th wave, and then still go for a 5th. Ultimate 5th wave target would put us up here about 6,500, 6,400 or so for a 5th wave target. So definitely something I am watching for, definitely something I'm paying attention to. And let's take a quick look at the 4. All right, so here on the hourly, you can see that we have we came back down and tested the pivot, found some support currently, but if that's the case, looking at this as an ABC correction here for a potential wave 2. Again, indecision on the market. We've just been playing within the neutral zone. Not a lot of strength one way or another at the moment, but we are going to have to make a decision here at some point. So possibly looking at, the RSI here, just coming back, retesting, we're at the 50, looking potentially retesting the 45 on top of the bearish control zone, before we, potentially find support and take off and go to the upside. With this, I'm not looking at so much of this as a B wave with consolidation up here on top, right underneath this trend line. Normally our B wave would reset a little bit more, and if it does, I would start looking at these support zones of basically 2,300, 2,200, and then down here again about 1,900 to 2,000. And that would have this as an AB, and then look for another pop up, retest the trend line, which would be right here. And then, you know, again, just playing with inside of this channel right here that, you know, we're getting a little bit of wedginess going on with it. So those would be my couple areas to watch. But I don't, personally, I'm not leaning towards any kind of break below 1900. Not right now, at least. If anything, I'm leaning more towards a break to the upside with the, with the bullishness of some of the indicators that I'm looking at. So let's take a quick look at good old BTC here. I know everyone was looking at this as a potential triangle. From an Elliott wave perspective, I'm not really leaning as it being a potential triangle, but there are a couple different options that you know, we could play with in regards to, you know, is this consolidation in regards to a B wave, or is it consolidation to a fourth wave? And there's a couple different ways we could be looking at that, and that would just be one, that this would be an A wave up, or a potential wave one consolidation here within the two, and then about to take off for a potential third, or is this going to be an A wave, B wave, and then coming up with a 5-wave move. Obviously a big one to break is going to be one, the $3,700 mark, $3,800 mark, to find that as support, and then next stop's going to be 42.5 roughly, which is going to be a weekly resistance standpoint, and then back again at 55, and we can still get up there with this, it being a C wave in regards to a flat correction. We can still get up to almost 60k again, retest the highs, with another move potentially to the downside. And kind of doing this a little bit in reverse format, so let's get back out and just take a quick look at the weekly, and again, ignore the mess. I'll kind of dive back into the smaller time frame and just recap here. But you can see that the RSI is coming back down and finding support on the 40 inside of the bearish control zone here. Lots of volume to the downside, breaking this really the negative 50 here on the market liberator. But you can also see that the VWAP is starting to curl back up, and we actually haven't been in the positive. I mean, we have a little bit right here. The VWAP curled back into it, but a big one was down here, and that was really on the wave 2. So let's take a quick look down here. Come on, chart. Let's go. All right, so it was right here. You can see that right here our VWAP went negative, and that was our wave 2 what I'm looking at, and then flipped positive right here when we got that buy signal, which resulted to a massive gain to the upside. You can see we also found support here on our slow moving EMA. So being that we've had a pretty decent cross to the downside, you know, we had one right here. You can see again, that was the COVID dump, where we had our cross here to the downside, came down quite drastically, quite fast, almost similar to what we're doing here. Again, this is on the weekly, where we can potentially look at this having, you know, right here is our wave 2, where we would be looking at potential bullish divergence, hopefully printing out here on a weekly, which would be quite strong for a move to the upside. So we are also starting to see the volume starting to kind of level off a little bit from a negative standpoint. So let's take a quick look at the daily. Yeah, pretty interesting. We are at a important decision point here on the daily. We did have our VWAP go negative here, and RSI is definitely following, so we'll kind of have to pay attention to see how that closes here over the next hour and a half, and then starts to play out again as we go into tomorrow's time frame. But, you know, typically this is fairly typical of a fourth wave for what we see, where we have these indicators reset for another move to the downside. It may not be drastic, and it may not even be a fourth wave. It depends on how aggressive the move down that we get. We do have a weekly support down here at 2600. If we do get a move down, obviously we are right here at a support standpoint right now for 33.7, where we did find some support. Next one I'd be eyeing is basically the 30k, and then another one here at about 26.6. But if we come back and, you know, retest the bottom of the bearish control zone, find that as support, and then bounce off of it, you know, that would be pretty bullish. So it's going to just take a little bit of time to have the rest of this, you know, play out. But you can see we got a nice little bounce here on our fast moving EMA, resulting in a pretty decent swing, you know, to the upside on that. But again, a lot of indecision in the market. And I wouldn't count this as a triangle. I know everyone's drawing as a triangle right now. You know, if we do break to the downside, and if this is a triangle, we'll have a pretty hefty move and start be looking at, you know, 24 to potentially 20K on this move to the downside if that's the case. So, again, it can be an A with an ABC here in the middle and then a bounce up. But you know, it's a lot of indecision, and you know, bulls and bears trying to decide the path here. So let's take a quick look at the 8 hour. All right, so 8 hour trying to break out of the bearish control zone, and we got rejected with a fresh bearish cross here on our blue wave. So yeah, we're gonna have to find support, you know, here with where we're at. We found it back here as well, but we did set in a lower high. So it's not looking super promising in regards to any kind of move to the downside. You know, we may get a little bit more of continuation. I'll be looking really for the $30,000 range if this breaks, and then pay attention for this RSI to come back down and test the bottom of the bearish control zone. Let's take a quick look at the 2 hour. Yeah. Smaller time frames, though. I mean, it's pretty exhausted on the smaller time frames. So we might see a little bit of a reset, might see a little bit of a bounce up. But yeah, we got a rejection here on the volume band. Tried to hit it one more time. Didn't quite get there. And yeah, that's usually our clear indication that we're going to have some downside continuation after that. You can see that even on the purple dots where we're getting the red crosses, you know, indicating continuation of a bearish move. So we're not quite bullish yet. You know, it's still indecision, still some consolidation in the market. And it kind of depends if, one, we're going to get this as a fifth wave come down. I'm not seeing this as a 5-wave move right now. So it's not making me believe that we're going to have a fifth leg in regards to continuation. We would need to move up again and then have another leg come down. And I'm not seeing that right here for, I guess, a 5-wave move. If anything, it would have to be a 1, 2. This would have to be our 1, 2. This would be a 3, 4, and a 5 for a third. So basically, we would have to come down and really retest probably the 31 to get there in order for this to play out. Come back, retest that trend line, and then come back down for a fifth wave to get us down there. So not seeing the wave structure form out yet for that to take place, but it can still form. It is still fairly early. And you know, we could be looking at this as either this is a fifth leg right here for a C wave to come down, and then this is just simply a WXY correction. If we take that off, so we would have that. So this would be our W, our X, Y. Let's see. Even a small flat, within here is definitely possible for this to be a B wave, to do something along the lines of that. So possible scenario, again, paying attention to, play it level by level, look for the supports and the signals, and regards to looking at the resistance areas and the support areas. So what I'm leaning for overall, I am leaning for again, a little bit more sideways continuation, and then ultimately a break to the upside. I'm not seeing this go down, even though, I mean, it is possible we could have, a quick move to the downside. Because I know Bitcoin does love to do that. It loves to set in a slightly lower low and then just take off to the races when we are in these bottoming formations. It does it all the time, because if anyone got in, they put their stop loss under the prior low, which would basically be 29.9. So if we come back down, have one more wick, and retest the weekly at the 26, we could still have that as basically an ABC right here for an expanded flat here in the middle, and take off and go from there. It's either that or that will be our fifth wave coming down, and we just haven't gotten the wave formation yet. So all things to look for, all things to pay attention to. But right now we got to hold the 33 mark if the bulls want to have control, and potentially break to the upside. So all in all, still bullish. But again, want to watch level by level as we go through some of this consolidation, and go from there. So hopefully catch you guys in the Discord, but wherever you're at in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'll catch you tomorrow on the next video, and hopefully see you guys in the Discord.